Hello and welcome. We're always hearing about vitamin D. It's one of those things that's constantly in the news, but what is it really? And are you actually getting enough? Well, today we're going to get to the bottom of it. Let's dive in. So here's the plan. First, we'll break down what this sunshine vitamin even is. Then we'll look at how your body puts it to work. After that, we're going to tackle the big debate about deficiency, check out the real evidence behind supplements, and finally, figure out how to find that perfect, healthy balance.
All right, let's kick things off with the fundamentals. What is vitamin D? Turns out the answer is a little more complex, and honestly a lot more fascinating than you'd think.
Get this. This is what makes vitamin D so cool and so unique. We call it a vitamin, right? But once it's in our bodies, it's converted into this incredibly powerful hormone. It's basically a chemical messenger that zooms all over your body, telling different systems what to do.
Okay, that sounds super technical, I know. But here's what it really means. Vitamin D isn't just one single thing. It's a whole family of molecules. And its number one job? It acts like a gatekeeper for your gut, telling it to absorb crucial minerals, especially calcium, from the food you eat. Now, there are two main forms you'll hear about, D2 and D3. Vitamin D3 is the one our body makes when sunlight hits our skin. You can also get it from animal foods. D2, on the other hand, comes from plant sources. And while your body can use both, most of the science points to D3 being a bit more potent, a bit more effective at getting your levels up.
Okay, so we know what it is. But how does your body take this raw ingredient, whether it's from the sun or your lunch, and actually turn it into something useful? It's a pretty cool journey.
Think of it like a three-step assembly line. First, we get the raw, inactive vitamin D from sunlight or food. Then it heads over to the liver. The liver does the first conversion. But it's not done yet. From there, it goes to the kidneys for the final, crucial step, turning it into calcitriol. And that is the active, superpowered hormone that can finally get to work. So that final hormone, calcitriol, it's like the master key. It travels straight to your intestines and literally unlocks the door, allowing calcium from your food to pour into your bloodstream. Without that key, most of the calcium you eat just passes right through you. That's why vitamin D is absolutely critical for strong bones, healthy teeth, and even muscle function. And this, of course, leads us to the million-dollar question. Are we getting enough? Honestly, with our modern lifestyles, so much of it spent indoors, this has blown up into a huge public health debate. Getting enough vitamin D from the sun isn't as simple as just stepping outside. The time of year is a massive factor. For a lot of us, come winter, the sun's rays are just too weak to do the job. But there's more. Sunscreen, which is super important for preventing skin cancer, well, it also blocks the exact rays we need to make vitamin D. And the melanin and darker skin acts like a natural sunblock, which means it takes longer sun exposure to produce the same amount. It's a really complex equation.
So because of all those variables, some groups are at a much, much higher risk of not getting enough. We're talking about older adults whose skin just isn't as efficient at making it anymore, people who are frail or housebound, folks with darker skin tones, and anyone who covers up their skin for cultural or health reasons. It's a pretty long list.
And just to make things a little more complicated, even the experts don't have one single global standard. In the US, the general recommendation is about 600 international units, or IU, a day. But over in the UK, they recommend a bit less, 400 IU, but they also strongly advise that basically everyone should consider taking a supplement during the fall and winter. So, yeah, it's not clear-cut. Which naturally brings us to supplements. I mean, with so many people potentially not getting enough, popping a pill seems like an easy fix, right? But are they the answer for everything? Let's take a hard look at the evidence. So when it comes to supplements, the science isn't a simple yes or no. For some things, the benefit is absolutely crystal clear. We're talking about preventing the bone disease rickets in kids and treating osteomalacia, that's soft bones, in adults. The proof is there. But for a lot of other things, like preventing cancer or heart disease, the evidence is, well, it's mixed. It's just not certain yet. We really need more research.
But, and this is a big but, we do know that for specific, high-risk groups, supplements can be a total game changer. For example, for elderly people in care homes, studies show that a daily dose of around 700 to 800 IU, especially with calcium, makes a huge difference in reducing their risk of devastating hip fractures. That's a perfect example of a targeted, evidence-based approach that works.
Okay, so we've established that too little is a problem. But what about the other side of the coin? Can you have too much? That brings us to our final piece of the puzzle, finding the right balance and understanding the risks of going overboard.
First off, here's some really good news. Your body is incredibly smart. It has this built-in safety switch, so it is physically impossible to overdose on vitamin D from the sun. Your body just stops making it when it has enough. The danger of toxicity only comes from taking ridiculously high doses of supplements over a long time.
So what counts as too much? Well, for most adults, health authorities have set what they call the tolerable upper intake level, right here at 4,000 international units per day. Think of that as the absolute maximum amount that's considered safe without a doctor's supervision. It's a critical safety ceiling to know about before you even think about taking high-dose supplements.
Because if you go way over that limit for too long, it can cause a dangerous buildup of calcium in your blood. And that can lead to some really serious problems, everything from nausea and confusion to kidney damage and even heart rhythm issues. It really hammers home why it is so important to stick to the recommended doses unless your doctor tells you something different.
And so all of this leaves us with one big final thought to chew on. Our bodies were designed to make this vital hormone from the sun, but our lives today look nothing like they used to. We work indoors, we cover up, we use sunscreen, we live in places where the sun just isn't strong enough for half the year. So it really makes you wonder, in this modern world, has a lack of vitamin D become the new normal?